Before we jump into today's Chiefs video, if you want Tyrann Mathieu to stay in Kansas City long term, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up icon. Like the video if you want Mathieu to remain a Chief. A lot of contract rumors and drama between him and the Chiefs. We'll break that down on today's show starting right now. Today's Kansas City Chiefs report is presented by our brand new sponsor. That would be Magic Spoon. If you want high protein, healthy, and absolutely delicious cereal, go to magicspoon.com/Chiefs. Get $5 off your first order. The link is in the comments and in the description. Tons of different flavors available. I crushed a bowl of the cocoa this morning. It's healthy. It's fantastic. Get back in the breakfast game with Magic Spoon. Let's get into today's Chiefs rumors and a lot of stuff flying around Tyrann Mathieu and what his extension could look like if there's going to be one. Could a contract extension not actually come? Well, Brett Veach talked about this recently as Honey Badger has still not received a new contract, currently set to be a free agent after this season, and Veach basically acknowledged, look, we love Tyrann, he loves being here, but money is tight right now. So he basically conceded we can't do a deal at this point in time, which I find very, very interesting. Obviously, the Chiefs have a lot of big contracts, but Tyrann Mathieu is a pretty important player to keep around, in my opinion. Here's what Veach had to say a few days ago. Quote, "We've had a chance to talk to Tyrann and his representation, and I think it's a little bit difficult with the landscape right now of having two cap-shortened off seasons and where we are in regards to our off-season projections. And right now, for us and for him, I think it's just a timing thing." I'm officially concerned at this point because I was very confident an extension would come this offseason. I thought it would happen before the draft. Then when that didn't happen, I was like, oh, it'll happen before training camp. And then once camp rolled around, I was like, oh, surely it'll happen before week one. I'm not confident a contract extension happens during this season at this point in time. Now, I still think there's a decent chance he returns to the Chiefs after this year, but I would say I'm at a 6 or 7 out of 10 concerned at this point when it comes to Tyrann Mathieu and his future in Kansas City. What do you guys think? Will Tyrann Mathieu stay in Kansas City after this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I certainly hope he does. Cast your votes down in the comments on this one. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report here on YouTube. More on Tyrann Mathieu in a second. We're breaking down the biggest stories when it comes to Kansas City. So stay up to date by hitting that subscribe button. It's 100% free. We continue to bring you videos on a daily basis, just about 5 videos a week. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Do not miss any of our latest Chiefs news and rumors video. Okay, so you look at what Tyrann Mathieu has done in 2 years. He's been great on the field, but he's been a culture changer defensively. I don't think there's any doubt about the raw tenacity he brings to this football team. He is the heart and soul of Steve Spagnuolo's defense. I think, A, you can't replace his production, but you can't replace what he gives you emotionally in my opinion. You look at some of the highest paid safeties right now. I think another reason this is a good time to talk about this story is Jamal Adams just got paid $17.5 million per year on average, 4 years, $70 million by the Seattle Seahawks. And I think there's a pretty good argument that Tyrann Mathieu is better than Jamal Adams. Now, he's older. He's about 4 or 5 years older. They do different things, but I like Tyrann Mathieu as an overall player better than Adams. He's much better in coverage. He creates more turnovers. Adams is certainly better at rushing the passer as a safety. He's very good at that, but Tyrann Mathieu is a Swiss Army knife. He can cover. He can play in the box. He can hit hard. He can pick off passes. He can come on safety blitzes from time to time as well. He brings you a little bit of everything, and again, that leadership, his intangibles, just brings so much juice to this defense. Him coming over after 2018, you don't think that's a big reason why this defense improved greatly? I think you'd be naive to think otherwise. Let me know, how much money do you believe Tyrann Mathieu is worth per season? Like, if you gave him a new contract tomorrow, how much would you give him? 15 a year? I mean, if Adams just got 17.5, I don't think Mathieu will get that because he's 29, whereas Adams is like 24. But I'd give him 14 or 15, man. He's a pretty damn good player. He brings you a ton to the table on this football team. So let me know in the comments, how much money per year do you believe the Honey Badger is worth? Now, we told you guys today's sponsor is Magic Spoon. Guys, I had to kick that mainstream cereal to the curb because there's just too much sugar in it. Magic Spoon cereal, though, which is absolutely delicious, childlike cereal for grown-ups, guess what? 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein per serving. 4 grams of net carbs, only 140 calories per serving as well. This is great. This is when I hop out of bed each morning, get a bowl of Magic Spoon, try the different flavors, because I bought a box of 4, which is the way to go, because you can try all their different flavors, and you're good to go for a long time, because this cereal will last you a while. Get $5 off your first order, magicspoon.com/Chiefs. Like I said, tons of different flavors. I crushed a box this month, but this morning I had a bowl of the cocoa flavor, which is one of their best ones. Love the peanut butter as well. Go check them out, magicspoon.com/Chiefs. We'll have a link in the comments and in the description. Let's keep it rolling here. Chris Jones for Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's possible. He is having a monster training camp, a really good preseason. He said he shedded about 15 to 20 pounds. He's playing more defensive end, which we already knew that was going to be the case. Obviously, he's going to play some defensive tackle still as well. But on the depth chart, he's actually listed at DN. So I found that very, very interesting. I think he could be in line for a DPOY type of season. I think that's very much a possibility. Now, there's a ton of superstar defensive players in this league, but I think Jones is going to get back to that 2018 form this year. Stone Cold Jones is back. I'm declaring it here. This will be one of the most productive players in the NFL this year on the defensive side of the football. I think you're going to see why the Chiefs gave him 4 years and $85 million or whatever the case was. Here's what Jones had to say recently about kind of playing more defensive end. He said, quote, "You can always get better at technique. I'm in a new position, so it's more of a learning phase to me now, defensive end. Haven't played it since college, so just the whole position swap has been a learning phase to me." Doesn't look new to him, or to me. Looks like it doesn't look new to Chris Jones, because he has been absolutely fantastic, just bullying offensive tackles during the preseason and getting after the quarterback. I think he's going to be great. The Chiefs are going to move this guy around J.J. Watt style. He'll play inside. He'll play outside. I think you'll see him drop into coverage from time to time as well. He's a good enough athlete to do that. I am excited to see what Spags does with Chris Jones this season. So how many sacks do you think Chris Jones will have this year? Get your votes down in the comments. I mentioned earlier, I think 2018 type of season could be a possibility for Stone Cold here, so we'll have to wait and see. But project it for me. How many sacks will Chris Jones have this year? Remember, 17-game schedule. 2018 was his best year. 3-4 scheme, played defensive end in that scheme, 15.5 sacks. I think 15 is possible. I really do. He's had 9 or 10 the last couple of years. He's still been very good, one of the most disruptive defensive tackles this year. But I think moving him around is really going to cause problems for opposing offensive lines. So do not be surprised if he is in the 15 sacks range this year. I'm that high on Chris Jones, on what Kansas City is doing with him. I think he's going to have a career year in this defense. And you really need him to, if we're being honest, because Frank Clark is banged up right now, might be ready for week 1. We'll see. I think he will, but a suspension could still come. Uzi Clark, you never know when that's going to be finalized. You cut Taco Charlton, Michael Dana, Alex Okafor, rotation guys, Tim Ward, Joshua Kando. The interior is going to be nice. You got Jaron Reed, Derek Nottie, Kalen Saunders. I love Tershawn Wharton. But it all starts with Chris Jones. Had a sack against Arizona in the last preseason game. So I think the sky is the limit for what he's going to be able to bring to the table this upcoming season, which is why I'm fired up about Chris Jones. You guys can give me a follow on Twitter at HGramNFL. Slide in the DMs. They're always open. If you have any Chiefs questions, want to talk some NFL, NBA, other sports as well. I'm just a huge sports fanatic. So slide in the DMs at HGramNFL. Give me a follow, and we'll chop up some Chiefs football. All right, final story here. How about trading for Marcus Davenport? How about this proposal is ridiculous from Bleacher Report as they come up with the trade idea for all 32 teams? Have Kansas City trading a day 2 pick for Marcus Davenport. Look, the Chiefs are fairly thin at defensive end. I am not disputing that. But Marcus Davenport, just because he was a first-round pick like 4 years ago now, doesn't mean you trade a day 2 pick for him, like a second or third round pick. No! Day 2 pick? No chance. He had 2 sacks last year. He's never produced at a high level since he's been drafted. Hey, it's like going back 20 years. Let's give a second-round pick for Ryan Leaf 4 years after he was drafted. I mean, he went top 2 overall. It's second-round pick for him. No, you got to be productive. Like, just because you were drafted high doesn't mean you give up a high draft pick to go get him. Day 2, no way. 5th-round pick, all right, you could talk me into that. But second or third, Absolutely not. I'll let you guys answer. Would you trade a second or third round pick for Davenport? Type T for trade, type P for pass. I am absolutely not trading a premium draft pick for a guy who simply has not developed in New Orleans. He had 2 sacks last year. I'm just not that impressed with what he's been able to do overall. So, again, you could use some depth. Defensive end is somewhat thin. We just covered that when we were talking about Chris Jones and Frank Clark. But yeah, I'm not trading a top 100 pick for Marcus Davenport, a guy who just has not produced at nearly a high enough level during his NFL career. So day 2 pick, absolutely not when it comes to Marcus Davenport, who is still young and talented, but there's no way New Orleans would get that on the open market, at least in my opinion. Appreciate you guys for dropping down on today's show. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys very soon.